Hi, this is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching, doing the trade review for September 10th, 2013. And it was quite an interesting day. Most of this review is going to cover how I blew what was pretty much a clean setup multiple times today. And this gets back to what I want to highlight is through my mistakes, how not following a set trade plan can throw a trader into a terrible conundrum of frustration and losing money at the same time. And so I'm going to look at a little bit at what went into setting up this situation and then the steps I'm going to take to correct it moving forward. But first, let's kind of look at the trade plan and how we set this up. This is, of course, just for educational purposes only. Nothing in this video should be considered a trading recommendation. So let's come in here and take a look. Let me minimize these. Let's look at the trading plan out of the gate first of all. So this morning I spoke about how we had strength coming in right out of the gate, and that all the trend lines had kind of turned to the upside, and that I expected dips to get bought, and that I wanted to be a little cautious coming in on just shorting out of the gate, and I wanted to watch NQ's behavior and how it reacted. I would have expected with the strong tick out of the gate that we would have had a push up, and we didn't get that. And that was really the first clue as to what was going on. The second part of that was I expected when we did get a zero tick test that it would be an excellent long side entry. And so if we look at today, we came in and sure enough, we opened up right at that 1682 gap. And usually what I expect on a day like today is that we're going to open up, we have extremely strong tick reading, and then we're going to kind of push up into this area and maybe even a little bit above it before we get a sell response. Instead, what we ended up with was an immediate sell response. We hit the bottom of 1680.75, and we reversed and we came right down into 1677 even. And I guess this is really where you would say anatomy-wise in my trade, I'd already messed up the trade. So first of all, usually I take the front of the zones, especially very early. I'm willing to take a 4-point loss. We've had a big move up, okay? So what's going on in my mind is that I've had actually a solid week where I've really struggled with my 2-point trades. Not that they haven't been paying, they haven't been paying a lot. And that's caused me to kind of look and see if I can't start fidgeting. What happens when you start not making the money you're accustomed to making, or if you're losing, you're not getting any wins, is you want to kind of start playing with what's been working, especially if it's a protracted period. Really, I got through, it's been about a week and a half where it's been a little challenging with the rotations and the drives up and the drives down. And kind of when I got in today, there was a couple things bothering me. My back was bothering me. I was a little weary on the gap up because it has been just a freight train going straight up. All the moving averages have turned up, but you're kind of like in your head, well, it should pull back. I'm looking for a good rotation lower, but we haven't had a decent rotation lower this morning. And I'm just kind of a little off edge instead of being relaxed, I think would be the best way to describe it. So when we came in this morning, again, one of the things that was very clear right out of the gate was that we were in an uptrend, and we've been in an uptrend. Just kind of, a very simple trend line. You just kind of start here and you just keep trucking this thing up. And, we pretty much held this trend line all day long. Really, all you had to do was buy the trend line, and it was pretty hard to lose money today. So that was the first thing that was kind of keeping me from, do I really want to get short? Moves that start out of London stay very, very strong through the day. So I didn't take my first trade, whereas normally I would have just taken that blind. The strong move out of London, I had a little hesitation step. The next thing I said was I wanted to pull back. Again, because I've been struggling with my trades a little bit, I figured, well, maybe I can get the middle of the zone. We'll pull back enough. I did put in a limit trade right here. right in the middle of this zone, and I didn't get hit. Now, I should have taken the top of the zone, so basically for saving $50 a contract, I blew out $100 a contract or more if I'd left a trailer, because we moved right back up to the back of strong resistance second time into the zone. So I didn't take my first trade. I didn't take my second trade. So now we're at the third trade of the day. And by the way, I did take NQ on that Zerotech pullback. But even there, I kept the stops very tight, even on the second half. I ended up getting stopped out before I got seriously paid on the second half of that trade. I took 4 points on the first part, but I never got the extension up that I was looking for. And I moved the stop to break even on this second dip down in the morning, kind of right into here. They took me out. So again, I'm just really struggling with my short-term trades over the last week and a half to get big points up on the board. But even with that, if you look at last week, I was up 1.5 points for last week for, I guess, Tuesday through Friday. I was up 2 points yesterday. And had I just traded any of the zones the way I wanted to, I would have had anywhere from 2 to 6 points today. And but just slight adjustments, just I'm a little uncomfortable. And the interesting thing was here, we had tick divergence right in here, and I'm going to pull up a 1 minute chart. Where are we? Right here on the 1 minute. There we are. Okay. I had shorted when we came up in here, and I couldn't get my rotation down. I shorted right at the front of the zone, and this is what I shorted right here, this quick rejection that we got. And you know, they didn't have any follow through to the downside. It was met with responsive buyers again, and they were just determined to continue pushing. But I finally said, well, you know what? I don't want to lose any more than 2 points today. I'm frustrated. I've missed 2 trades at this point. This is the third one. I'm going to end up down on the day, and I don't want to have a 4-point down day because I'm uncomfortable. My back's hurting. All of these things are playing in, and as soon as you start messing with your natural boundaries of what you set, consistency comes from, and FT71 said this today in his review, in his webinar, consistency comes from doing the same thing over and over and over. You take the same setup with the same stop and the same profit targets, and you start gathering data and information to confirm that you have an edge. And if you have to start that process via a simulator, you use a simulator to get that done. Well, I've gone through that entire process. I know that my 3 to 4 point stop, depending on where I take it in the zone, pays me money. I understand that my tick divergence trade pays me money on a regular basis. And the lesson here, and what I want to take away from this is, when you start messing with those parameters, and I'm sure my coaching clients are just laughing at this because I get on them to no end, don't play with the stops. And it's exactly what I did today. And it's just been the result of frustration and getting worn down week after week, day after day, waiting for a trade to work for you. And, you know, realistically, I'm accustomed to getting 10 to 20 points off my scalp trades a week. And when I'm getting 1.5 points for the entire week, I understand that's not negative, but it sure is frustrating, in addition to the fact that you're putting yourself out there by tweeting the trades. And unlike a lot of people on Twitter, I'm actually honest. When I take a loss, I print the loss. When I make a gain, I say what the gain is. And if I'm trailing and I have a swing trade, I say what the trailer is. I don't like to sugarcoat things. I like to, to tell people exactly how it is when you're trading, because trading is a hard business, and we always seem to be chasing one style or another style. And the entire point of this is for me to demonstrate that by following one consistent style, that I can pull consistent profits out of the market, and that the zones themselves are the edge. So the last trade that I blow here is, while I'm getting tick divergence, I put my stop right at the back of the zone. Literally, the best place to take the trade is where I put my stop, and I got one tick. One tick below the high of the day is where my stop occurred. And that is just so frustrating. And then, of course, where the mistake a rookie would make, I would have made another day, is gone, I just got stopped. I'm going to jump back into this trade. And instead what I said is, I'm just going to take the walk. The 2 points isn't that big a deal. when I start seeing a succession of one mistake, two mistakes, three mistakes, and I apologize, I'm not trying to bore anyone, but this is where traders that I'm helping usually go off a cliff. You're like, I've made a mistake here, I've made a mistake here, now I have to get back. And on a day like today, it's damn difficult to get back. So that being said, by the way, this entry here, and I had mentioned this before the open, this is a zero tick line right here. I'm going to lay this down. Right here is where I said I wanted to get my first entry. It was on the first test as zero tick. And I let it come and go, and I didn't take the entry. And that was absolutely my best trade. And then this trade right here followed up. This was 4 points in each way. So on a day where at least 4 points on each way. So on a day where we had a 6-point range, I had a potential of 8 points available to me. But because I did not execute my trade plan the way I had the trade plan written up and set up, and I let my mind get in the way, I let the performance of the past week get in the way of a good performance today, instead of being up 4, possibly even 6 points, maybe even 8 if I had done it correctly, I ended up the day slightly less than down 2 if you include the NQ trade. I was down, let's see, 2 in a tick on ES, and I think on the NQ side I picked up an average of 2 points on the position as a whole. So let's call that 1 3/4 points for the day. Nothing terrible. With yesterday's, I'm probably scratch after commissions, but it should have been a profitable day, and I'm aware of that. I'll take steps tomorrow to fix that. So my consistency comes from doing daily reviews of what I did well and what I did poorly. Now, on the plus column on my side of the street, I did walk away from trading around 11 a.m. I just said I'm just going to take my hands off of this thing. And during the entire Apple presentation, I didn't try to step in front of, get long, get short, and this entire chop fest. And I'll show you what it looked like here on 1 minute because it was ugly. All of this right here, I just stayed out of it. Okay, there was just no point in being in it. I stayed out of it completely. This is the channel that I'd shown overnight where we were just basically, we've been channeling an uptrend quite clearly overnight. We're going to need to get up underneath this 1677 for sellers to have any control whatsoever. My guess is 1677 holds, and that we're probably overnight going to probe this 85 3/4 to 87 3/4, somewhere right in here. I need to bring that down like that. This zone up here should get tested. So that's my thinking for the day. Those are where I made the errors. It's not easy to put yourself out, but you know what? All traders, and I consider myself a very good trader, all traders have rough days. It's how you handle the rough days or the rough weeks that lets you come back and trade well going forward. And I have no doubt, I've had consistent months now where I've been hitting anywhere from 50 to 100 ES points, depending on how my swings went. But just off my 2-point trade, I've been hitting 50 to 60 ES points a month per contract traded. So I'm behind that curve for the last 2 weeks, and I'm hoping that that'll pick back up. My swing trades have been covering the slack there, but I'm hoping that the 2-point zones, that the rotations pick up at each zone, and that we really start getting some big P&L days. But until that point, I will pay very close attention to not burying myself on the down days. And after witnessing what I did today, I'll be on extra guard to execute my trade plan as I have it drawn out, without messing with the stops, without messing with the entries. And I think that'll be reflected in the tweets that I see or that you see put out by me. I hope everyone had a wonderful day. I hope you had a better day than I did, and that your P&L is always positive. If you're struggling as a trader, go out there and get help. You shouldn't be drawing down your account huge. It's not necessary. There's plenty of edges, and I speak to guys every day that have great edges. I also talk to guys every day that are blowing the crap out of themselves. Don't be the guy that's blowing the crap out of yourself. Stop, get on a simulator, contact someone that can give you some help. There's a lot of good help out there, even outside of my own resources. And it's worth the investment. It's worth not continuing staying as a losing trader. You can do better than what you're doing now. My name is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching. I hope that this helped a few of y'all out. Have a great day.